What's going on, guys? Right Bomby Teacher in the house, and I am here with the EDL week number 4. Your Royal Bournemouth Bombies are taking on the San Jose Farfetch'd and Coach King Farfetch'd himself. Now, if you're wondering why this is week 4 and not week 1, considering this is a new league, go pause this video, go check out the draft breakdown I did. It should be in the EDL playlist as always. But yeah, so quick summary for those who are TLDR. That draft breakdown also talks through my team. But quick summary for TLDR people. Basically, I was not going to play this league this season. I didn't like the draft process and stuff like that, so I dropped out mid-draft. But Silent Leche dropped out, and Exostomp reached out to me and said, yo, can you just take over this team for the remainder of the season? So I was like, yeah, sure. So that's basically the long story short. So King Farfetch'd is my first victim. I mean, my opponent. But no, all jokes aside, I'm not expecting anything from this league. We were sitting bottom of the league at the time I took over. So basically, I have to win out and win big if I want any chance of making playoffs. It's pretty unlikely, given the caliber of opponents I'm playing, but you never quite know. So that's basically the situation. So I'm going into this with no expectation, but I feel like this one is probably my easiest of the 3 matches. This matchup is heavily in my favor, given my team and given his team. So let's talk about it. He has his Galarian Farfetch'd, of course, his mascot. He brings it every week, so there's no reason why this is any different. He can Dynamax his Pokemon. It is one of his Dynamax captains. It's actually a pretty good Dynamax one, as it does get a decent amount of coverage moves. Obviously, Max Knuckle being its primary. He's stab choice. It does get close combat. Also a very good Eviolite user, so naturally very bulky, can be really annoying if it's allowed to set up. However, I do have Pokemon like Slurpuff that can take it on relatively well. Doublade can also handle it pretty easily, and things like Silvally can take it on, depending on what Silvally type I use. So, pretty solid Pokemon. Does struggle a little bit for speed, but I'll talk to you about speed in a second, because speed actually does have some relevance in this match. But yeah, Galarian Farfetch'd will come, brings it every week. We'll see how well he uses it against me. Next up is Goodra, a very specially bulky Pokemon. Really solid. Assault Vest user, does get some good coverage moves on the physical and special side. Is a little slow though, does lack a bit of power output, and again, kind of struggles against Slurpuff. Slurpuff handles it very nicely. I do have some big hard hitters on my team, and Goodra has not got the best physical defense, so I can definitely exploit that as a bit of an issue. However, like with the speed issue, Goodra does actually play a role in this team. It can hit quite hard against some of my team, depending on what I bring. Next up is Orbeetle, my friend Arcade Link's favorite Pokemon. Orbeetle is an interesting one. Definitely good defensively, kind of lackluster offensively, but it does get Trick Room. And Trick Room is very important in this match because his team, outside of a couple of Pokemon that I don't expect to come, is actually quite a bit slower than mine. So with that in mind, Trick Room is a genuine threat against my team. I knew that when I drafted it. But nonetheless, Orbeetle, aside from the natural bulk that it does get, can hit okay with moves like Bug Buzz, but the issue really is that Orbeetle's offensive stats are kind of really not that strong. So I don't expect Orbeetle to be like an offensive set. I feel like it's just probably a Trick Room setter. It might have things like Skill Swap to try and take away some of my abilities, particularly things like Scrappy off Pangoro or Swift Swim off Ludicolo, things like that. But yeah, in general, I don't think Orbeetle is going to be that much of an issue offensively, but it is going to be quite bulky and hard to take down. Next up is Stonejourner, one of the few Pokemon that actually speed ties with Slurpuff, depending on spread. Stonejourner is actually very annoying on the physical side. It's really physically bulky with a really good physical attack stat, and an actually somewhat okay speed tier. Really bad on the special side, however, and that's where I have to look to punish it. But does get moves like Body Press, does get Heavy Slam for coverage, does get Earthquake. Really scary mon. I don't think he can Dynamax this. I do want to check that though, just so I don't get this wrong. Yeah, his Dynamax is just for ease is Farfetch'd, Dreadnought, and Garbodor, so we'll talk about Dreadnought next. Dreadnought, really interesting Pokemon. Does get an Iron Defense, of course, to be good physically bulky. Does have the ability to Dynamax and use Max Quake to buff its special defense. Could be a good weakness policy set if it can get set up on the defensive side. Does also get Swift Swim, so it can be interesting for Rain, of course. I do have Ludicolo that also has Swift Swim, so That is an issue for him, given the fact that Ludicolo is naturally faster and Giga Drain will one-shot it, unless it's Focus Sash. But yeah, it gets a good amount of coverage moves, can be really, really strong. With a Dynamax, it can be a problem, but I think I have enough fighting and grass answers for it on my team, so I'm not too scared of Dreadnought, but I do still need to watch out for it. Next up is Cinccino. Cinccino's seen a bit of a rise in popularity of late. Obviously, he's known for being choice banded with its multiple multi-hit moves because of the ability Skill Link. Things like Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, and Tail Slap are its main options of choice. Does also get Fake Outs, so something to watch out for. But yeah, Cinccino, interesting Pokemon. I think he brings it. I think he has to bring it. I think it does hit quite a bit of my team relatively well. He doesn't beat Doublade 1v1 no, and he must think that Doublade's coming. Doublade is one of the most phenomenal Pokemon in the UU tier right now, so Doublade has every reason to be there. Next up is Garbodor. Garbodor is probably about the only Dynamax Pokemon he won't bring. I think Garbodor is an okay Pokemon. I think it's a good Spiker, Toxic Spiker. Does get things like Acid Spray, which can be really annoying to drop my special defense. But I don't see Garbodor really having much of an impact in this match. I do have things like Doublade, of course. Things like Bolton can really take it on pretty easily. Defensively, it's okay. It's average at best, but I don't think it has enough bulk to be able to take on my team. It doesn't really take on Sigilyph or Cursor very well either, so that is something that I think will be the stumbling block for Garbodor coming. Next up, Rotom Fan. Rotom Fan, kind of a bit of a meme from the ADL. He drafted Rotom Fan because it was the only Rotom that was left. It's kind of stuck with him. Not the best Pokemon in the world. Electric Flying is a cool typing, but it doesn't really have that much of an impact against my team. I don't really have a lot of resist for it, but I can just put Silvally Ground in place or whatever, and just make Rotom kind of useless. Next up is Blossom. Blossom, an interesting one, but I don't think it has any real reason to come. Does get Quiver Dance, of course, can be a good Quiver Dance sweeper, but it's too slow to really have much of an impact. Things like Bolton really ruins Blossom with that strong jaw. It doesn't generally take on a lot of my bulkier mon that well, so I don't think Blossom comes. Now, Heatmore is a mon I'm really struggling to place. Like, Heatmore is a good Pokemon, and I don't really have the best fire resists on my team, given the fact my water type is also grass type. But yeah, I don't know if Heatmore can really come to this match. I can just put Silvally Water in place or whatever and just hit it like a truck. I do have a lot of moves that can hit Heatmore. I do have good amount of ground coverage on my team. So I'm not sure Heatmore comes, but I wouldn't be too surprised if it did. Right, so let's talk about my team, what I brought and why I brought it. First up is going to be Slurpuff. Slurpuff is actually kind of nice here. Running special with Webs. Webs is actually okay, because if he doesn't bring Trick Room, some of my faster offensive threats will outspeed most of his, especially if he was trying to run Scarf. I mitigate the Scarf, and actually then we'll start outspeeding again, which is nice. Surf is really good, Dazzling Gleam is kind of nice. These two moves alone hit the majority of his team relatively hard. I can Dynamax Slurpuff. Slurpuff is one of my Dynamax captains alongside Doublade and Hakama O, so that is something to bear in mind. Max Starfall and Max, I forget the water move, Hydro Vortex? Or something like that? I don't remember. But yeah, very, very hard hitting moves. Oh, Max Geyser, that's what it's called. For some reason that didn't come to me. But yeah, Citrus Berry Unburden, of course, allowing me to outspeed incredibly hard once I go below 50% HP. With Calm Mind, I can live the majority of hits from a lot of his special attackers, particularly that Orbeetle and the Goodra. I can actually potentially live a Poison type special move, so that's something to bear in mind. This thing does do relatively well, but this thing's primary job is not necessarily to sweep itself, but it will beat the Goodra. It can beat the Stone Journer on its own, so that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, generally, this thing's job is to just come in. If I can get a Calm Mind, great. Webs is going to be its primary focus, and then Dynamax just for a bit of damage. The Misty Terrain is also nice in case he tries Toxicing me with that Orbeetle or whatever. Not Orbeetle, Garbodor. That could be a thing, but I'm not too sure it comes. Next up is gonna be Doublade. Doublade is very, very nice. I love this Pokemon a lot. Fantastic Eviolite user. No Guard is kind of unfortunate. Obviously, it means that every move hits it. But nonetheless, with max HP, max attack, and the Adamant Nature, I hit unbelievably hard. If I get a Swords Dance up, pretty much nothing on his team wants to take a hit. Obviously, with the ability to Dynamax as well, I can definitely put a lot of work in. Max Iron Head, of course, for Steel Spike will give me a defense boost. Close Combat will give me an attack boost. This will allow me to hit his team really obnoxiously difficult, and Shadow Sneak is a good thing to pick off things like the Orbeetle. It's a nice revenge killer. Doesn't beat Cinccino necessarily, but I do have Close Combat, so I can take it on relatively well. Doublade alone beats the majority of his team, so Doublade is probably my primary carry here. But I do have multiple carries on this team. That's one of the great strengths that this team has. But yeah, I think Doublade is going to be massively important in this match, and he doesn't have the best Doublade answer except for Heatmore, which I don't think actually comes. Next up is going to be the other big hitter of my team. Is going to be Choice Banded Pangoro with Iron Fist. Didn't see the need for Scrappy as he doesn't have a ghost type, so no point in running it. But Iron Fist hits incredibly hard with things like Bullet Punch and Drain Punch. Darkest Lariat, of course, ignoring all the stat changes. And Dragon Claw is primarily only there for Goodra. But I don't necessarily need Dragon Claw because I can pick it off from relatively low health. Or I could potentially one-shot it with a Drain Punch if I get the high roll. So, that's pretty much the job for Pangoro here, is to hit incredibly hard. It's a phenomenal breaker, and he doesn't have the best answers for it. Bullet Punch, of course, great priority, especially against the Stonejourner. Definitely a good revenge kill. Drain Punch just hits everything except Orbeetle incredibly hard, so that's something to look at. Pangoro is going to be the primary breaker. Doublade is kind of the revenge killer. But these two are both capable of just wrecking his entire team, and there's not really a lot of ways he has to beat him. He doesn't have a fairy, so that's something to bear in mind. Having no fairy is kind of a problem for him, which means he's reliant on coverage. Fighting presence can be a thing though, particularly with Stonejourner Body Press. I think Goodra also gets it, so that's something I need to watch out for. But yeah, it's highly unlikely he's going to be able to do much to stop Doublade and Pangoro. So, next up is gonna be Ludicolo. Ludicolo running a more supportive set, mostly just because this is the primary job for chip damage. Fake Out Knockoff are fantastic utility moves. Assault Vest means I can live most special hits, particularly from the Orbeetle. Giga Drain, of course, is phenomenal against Dreadnought and Scald if I can fish some burns, particularly on things like the Farfetch'd or the Stonejourner or the Dreadnought. We could be in an okay position if I can burn the Cinccino as well. That would be kind of nice. But yeah, Ludicolo's job's kind of just to switch in, take a couple of hits. Can be impactful, of course, if Rain is up. We did see already that I had Surf on Slurpuff, and I can Dynamax it to get Max Geyser and set Rain up. But yeah, Swift Swim obviously is there just to outspeed things like the Stonejourner. But yeah, Ludicolo is a very cool Pokemon in this matchup. I think it's probably my best Dreadnought answer, unless it's got a poison move. I don't know if it gets Poison Fang. I can't remember. But it should. It should get it, given it's a Snapper Turtle. But yeah, Ludicolo is definitely important in this match. We'll see how well Ludicolo can do. Next up is going to be Silvally. We're running Silvally Ground this week. This is primarily my Rotom and Heatmore answer, as well as Garbodor, but does also hit the Stonejourner and the Dreadnought for super effective damage pretty nicely. Rain Dance is there, of course, for Ludicolo in case I can't Dynamax my Slurpuff. Parting Shot and U-Turn is pretty much the pivoting of choice. Parting Shot is very nice, particularly if he's trying to set up. U-Turn, of course, if I just need to get out of there. And Multi-Attack is a 120 base power ground type move, which hits the majority of his team for at least solid, neutral, or super effective damage. There's only a couple of things that resist it, and one immunity. The immunity doesn't come, so this thing is actually kind of interesting. Definitely an important job in this match. Just there, just to be annoying. There to pivot around, cause problems, force switches, and then actually switch out himself, which can be kind of scary for Farfetch'd. He doesn't necessarily have the best ground answers except Dreadnought, so we'll see how well he can handle Silvally. And last but by no means least is going to be my Speed Demon, and that is Bolton. Bolton's super fast. It's faster than everything on his team. He has no rivals to this thing unless he has speed boosters. But yeah, with Strong Jaw and Life Orb, this thing can break a lot of his team. Crunch, Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Psychic Fangs hits pretty much everything. The only thing I don't hit for super effective is Cinccino, which I don't think is the best answer to Bolton. I am faster unless he's scarfed, and I do a huge amount of damage even just with a crunch. Bolton has the potential to be really potent out of Trick Room. It will force switches and hit incredibly hard on whatever comes in. So Bolton is going to be a breaker alongside Pangoro. Doublade is going to be my main sweeper of choice. And then we've got supportive options and pivoting to try and round out the team. So that's going to be our team aim. I hope you guys will look forward to the battles. These are best of 3 matches, so I will take you through all the battles that we faced. So I shall see you in a minute. Alright guys, here we are back with the battles with, of course, King Farfetch'd. He does bring exactly what I expected. No Goboda, no Rotom, no Blossom, no Heatmore. Pretty much I got his team spot on. So at this point, it's kind of an interesting situation. He doesn't have the best answers to my Doublade or Pangoro, or my Savali for that matter, so we are in a nice position here to take on King Farfetch'd. As you can see here, he leads Orbeetle, not too surprised to see that. I actually lead Ludicolo here just because I want trip damage and see what his sets are. As we do go for the fake out turn 1, obviously he gets the flinch, and we do see leftovers Orbeetle, so this is definitely fully defensive from what I saw. Knockoff didn't really do that much, so it suggests he's definitely a lot of physical bulk, as we do see the skill swap to swap telepathy with Swift Swim. But that's fine, I can go on a slow puff here, I resist pretty much anything, as he does go for Trick Room. So we did talk about Trick Room being a thing, as he does U-turn out here. Trick Room is actually kind of a problem, and this was where this went wrong for me. I do go for Webs as he U-turns out. I actually miscalced here because I forgot about Trick Room. So he actually went just before me because he slightly undersped me despite I wasn't max speed, and knocks me out. I go Ludicolo here as he switches out into Goodra, which is fine. I go for Scold to see if I can fish for a burn, where I'm a bit unlucky this turn, we don't get it. As we do see Rock Slide, which is kind of an interesting little tech move. I'm not sure what he was going for. But it did stall out the Trick Room, which is perfectly okay. I go for Knockoff here to see that he's Assault Vest, which is nice information to know. As he does go for Rock Slide again, put me really low health, which is not good for me. But I do switch out into my Silvally Ground here, as he does unfortunately miss his Rock Slide. Wouldn't have done much anyway. But as you can see, switches out into the Farfetch'd, which is caught in the webs. But I parting shot out. Let's lower his stats so he can't really do that much, and then I could just go into Bolton here and click buttons. Bolton is really strong. The Psychic Fangs, as you can see, one-shots him, even though I believe he was a Violate, I'm not sure. I think we do find that out in a later battle. Goes Dreadnought here, which does actually take the Sticky Webs. I don't actually one-shot him here, so I figured he might try and Gigantamax, as you do see that he does. As he does show Max Ooze, so he does have a poison type move, which is good to know. Does raise his special attack, however Dreadnought's about a physical attacker, so it's not the best. But I can go into Doublade here and then Dynamax the turn behind, which is actually very nice because having one additional turn of Dynamax is very strong. Max Quake doesn't do a lot, but does buff its special defense. I am a Violite, of course. As you can see, the Max Knuckle here doesn't do all that much, as we do see Weakness Policy Dreadnought, which is kind of cool. I max go on here to stall out his last turn of Dynamax, which is kind of an annoying play for him. He didn't really like that play that much, but it is what it is. As he does go for Iron Defense to try and live the next Max Knuckle, which because of that defense boost, he does live it. He would not have lived it had he not Iron Defense there. But my Dynamax runs out and I'm +2 attack. So at this point he's in trouble. The Earthquake doesn't kill. I did actually have to calc that. It's very unlikely he killed. It was like a 9% chance to kill me because I was max HP. But we do knock out the Dreadnought. Not too surprising. Here comes the Orbeetle. Unfortunately I have Shadow Sneak, so Orbeetle's not living a +2. So this thing is gone, and Doublade is already putting in work. Now, Cinccino here is kind of interesting. He does actually outspeed me because as I don't have fighting priority on Doublade, and a Bullet Seed knocks me out. Not a big deal. Doublade's already done its job here. I could just go into Sylvanic Ground here. Bullet Seed will not kill me. Multi-attack, almost killed. This was a roll. I was a little bit unlucky here, but nonetheless, Bullet Seed comes out, would not kill me unless he crits, which you can see from here he does not. So I am, of course, faster. I can U-turn out here, kill the Cinccino, which is nice because now I can go whoever I want. Bolton here is a nice one. He does probably have Earthquake on Stone Churner, but he actually sends out Goodra instead. I can hit this thing pretty hard with a crunch. We do see a decent amount of HP investment on this thing, as he does kill my Boltons with a crit. The crit didn't matter, he would have killed me anyway. But I didn't need Bolton to win this match, as Pangoro basically wins on his own. We go for Bullet Punch because it guaranteed kills the Goodra at this point, even if he was max HP. Does bring out the Stonejourner. Unfortunately, I don't actually kill this thing in one shot. As you can see, the Bullet Punch really did nothing, and I was choice banded. As we do see, the Stonejourner is also weakness policy and has superpower. Kind of interesting that he had superpower. I'm not sure why he went for that. I think body press is better, but did have superpower nonetheless. But multi-attack will kill because of the defense drop. If he had not superpowered there, the multi-attack would not have killed. But that is game 1 to us. We are currently 1-0 up in the series as we go into game 2. We got a lot of good information. We got that the Dreadnought is weakness policy, the Stonejourner is also weakness policy. Really good information to have. We knew Albedo was his Trick Room setter. Based on the calcs that I did, the Cinchino I think was choice band, so that's good to know. We knew the Goodra is Assault Vest, and I'm assuming at this point the Farfetch'd is a Violite. So let's go to game 2. So, this time he leads Farfetch'd, which is kind of interesting. Not sure why he led this time round. I don't know if he had a grass coverage move, but he does Dynamax it, which is fine. I can Parting Shot out here. He's not really going to do that much damage to me anymore. Just go straight into Slowpuff. Slowpuff does not need to worry here. Does go for Airstream, which is interesting. I think he has Acrobatics on this thing. So he does get the speed boost, but I can Dynamax a turn behind again, which is what I did with Doublade and Starfall. Does crit. This does prove that he was a Violite, because if he was not a Violite, he would not have lived that hit. Max Knuckle, of course, to recover his attack drop, which is cool, but I can just Geyser here and set up Rain. The Farfetch'd is gone, which is a little bit bad for him, but nonetheless, this does give me a lot of opportunity. Does go Cinchino. At this point, I don't really need Slurpuff, so I actually was quite happy to sack this. It does go for Gong Shot, but doesn't kill me. The Starfall here almost one-shots the Cinchino. Slurpuff is actually really, really strong here. But I am faster than Cinchino, but I do decide to switch out here, just in case he goes for Gong Shot again and Silvally resists it, which you see he goes for. Now, unless he was Scarfed, well, no, he does naturally outspeed me anyway, but as we knew from the calc last time, unless he crits me, he doesn't kill me from this range, so I can just U-turn out again. Now, this was the same play that I killed the Cinchino with in game 1, so I'm not sure why he went for this again, but now I go into Ludicolo with 2 turns of Rain up, or 1 turn of Rain left as Ludicolo comes in. Does go into Orbeetle, which is fine. I go for Scald to fish for Aura Burn, which we get it this time. We didn't get it last time, as he goes for Skill Swap again. Swift Swim is fine because the Rain turn is actually ended, so I'm not really that concerned. I do get a free knockoff here on anything, as he does let the Orbeetle left photos go, which is fine. I'm okay with this, as he does show Recover. So, this thing's very much a Starly type set, but I don't need Ludicolo that much in this matchup, nor do I need Silvally, so I decide to switch in, as he does go for Trick Room. Interesting decision on his end to go for Trick Room that turn, but nonetheless, he U-turns out and kills my Silvally. Now, Silvally didn't have a need in this match anymore. Silvally's done its job, as he does actually bring out the Stonejourner, which is fine, so Ludicolo comes back out. I can stall Trick Room turns here with Fake Out, so I'm not really that concerned. I do know how that he can hit this thing really hard. It does actually go for Stone Edge, which does not kill because I am more defensive. And as you can see, the Skull just one-shot Stonejourner. Not sure why he let this thing go. He probably would have been better off switching into the Goodra, but nonetheless he didn't. So Stonejourner gone. I do fire off another Scald. Just for a little bit of chip damage alongside the burn, and the Trick Room is now ended. I Scald again here, just to see if he does switch, but I didn't expect him to as he resets up the Trick Room. Trick Room is actually really annoying because he can stall me, but unfortunately for him, I can actually also stall him out. As he realizes this and U-turns out. Good play on his end to go into Dreadnought. Dreadnought is definitely good in Trick Room, but I do still have Pangoro, and Pangoro is really, really strong. I'm not gonna let up here. Go for the Drain Punch. You can see even at +2 defense, the Choice Band is just insane. It does so much. Now, he does actually show Body Press here, which is a cool little move for him, but it doesn't do enough to kill Pangoro, and the Drain Punch will pick up another kill. Give me some health back. Not too bad. We're in a good position here. I'm surprised he didn't go Orbeetle here, because he must have realized I was Choice Banded, but he didn't. So I do actually switch out. Unfortunately, I don't take the Earthquake, which is fine. No big deal. but I stalled him out of Trick Room, which is all I needed to do. We go back into Pangoro here. Drain Punch has a super high chance to kill. Dragon Claw also has a high chance to kill, but unfortunately I min-rolled the Dragon Claw and he does crit the Earthquake. Kind of unfortunate, however, it doesn't matter because Doublade can come in here and just click Shadow Sneak and pick up 2 free kills. As you can see, the Goodra is gone. And then in comes the Orbeetle, which is too weak. It cannot take a Shadow Sneak at all. And that's it. So, King Farfetch'd unfortunately loses 2-0 and a +3 differential for me, which is nice. Good start for us in our potential playoff chase. But yeah, good games, King Farfetch'd. Good luck in the last matches. I believe you need to win out if you want to make playoffs now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. There's a lot of teams that are really, really close in the standings, so we'll see what happens. But either way, those are the battles. I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rabombi Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bournemouth Rabombis. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.